Hi, my name is Sydney, and today I'm going to be discussing the two primary theories which attempt to answer the question as to how Indo-European languages have spread and diffused throughout time. I had difficulty locating two scholarly articles online, so I decided to use the two articles already presented on VHS and the one in the textbook, the little blurb in the textbook. So the first theory, the nomadic warrior theory, argues that the first Indo-European speakers were the Kurgan people, who lived in the Siberian steppe, kind of between present-day Russia and Kazakhstan, around 4,300 BC. So the Kurgans, pictured here, let me try and get that in there. The Kurgans pictured here were excellent herders and nomadic warriors. So they were one of the first, right here are my Kurgans. They were one of the first to domesticate cattle and horses, and most likely had great yield of early primitive weaponry. So in search of grass for their cattle, the Kurgans began to travel all throughout Western Europe. So if you can kind of see right here, Anatolia, kind of near Kazakhstan and Russia, they started to move throughout Europe and Southern Europe, Southeast Asia, and Iran. And arguably, the places that they went, the land they took, they also took their language with them. So the second theory is a more contemporary approach, and that is the sedentary farmer hypothesis. So this is a theory that argues at the start that the origin of the Indo-European language started in Anatolia, Turkey, around 2300 BCE, so 2,000 years before the Kurgans. Quite opposite of the nomadic theory, the Anatolian farmers were sedentary, so they stayed wherever they were located in order to increase farm yields, improve agriculture, and support their living. So as greater agricultural output improved standard of living, some scholars argue that this caused a population boom. So because of this population boom, the Anatolian farmers started to move elsewhere in order to find suitable land to support their living. So if you look at them, here are farmers right here. See, they're peaceful, they're not really doing anything, and they have crops. They arguably were pretty good at whatever they were doing. And then, so if you look at this map, I highlighted things that made it easier. Anatolia, Turkey right here. And then this theory states that the Anatolian people spread throughout Europe. So they diffused toward Greece and later Italy, Sicily, Corsica, and the Mediterranean coast of France, Spain, and Portugal. I find both theories pretty plausible, but I think in this case I'd have to side with the second, the sedentary farmer hypothesis, because if you look at the demographic transition model, I think that it's more in line with it and a little bit more based in science. So the issue with the first hypothesis is that although militaristically superior nations tend to conquer a lot of land and conquer it quickly, they also tend to lose that land pretty quickly when it comes to opposition groups and losing the cooperation of the people who originally lived in the territory that they conquered. So I think that is definitely going to hurt spreading the Kurgan people's language. However, I think in this case, kind of slow and steady wins the race. So, and also, I forgot about this, but in addition, the amount of people that have to die in order for a land to be conquered, in this case, if we have nomadic warriors, is kind of counterproductive when it comes to boosting the population so they can spread a language. As shown by the sedentary farmer hypothesis, which shares many similarities with the second stage of the demographic transition model, it can be noted that, once a group starts to improve their standard of living, when they start to grow crops, when their population booms, naturally they need to look elsewhere to support their population. But it's all done peacefully. I mean, we can look at it like during the Industrial Revolution, European culture diffused over to the United States. I think it's a much more realistic approach, and I think I remember one of the articles stating that there was some genetic evidence that supports it, so that's kind of why I side with the second. And that is all.